Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, today is May 30th, 2013, and this is the KNKL live stream, day 59. I am your host, Keenan Lafferty, and today is Thoughtful Thursday, the day once a week where we come and we meditate and talk to one another about our feelings and thoughts about life. And yes, we are going to be getting into that right before, or right after, a couple quick announcements. One of which you have just over a week and a half, or maybe just under a week and a half, I don't know. One of the two, to submit your things to the art contest in hopes of getting your very own blue giraffe statues, custom made by yours truly. And these will be being sent out to you, and you'll be able to place them on your desk and know that you were the winner, the victor of the very first art contest. And next up, I want to take some time to say thank you to those of you who have been contributing your time, money, or talent to the cause of Emma. Those people can be found here. And if you'd like to get your name on this list, simply donate anything of value. Cars, homes, bills, pets are also very good. I like that. And I'll put your name on this list. Or simply just do something awesome for the cause of Emma. Alright guys, and speaking of that, for those of you who have not ordered your awesome posters, these limited edition poster prints, only 90 of these are ever going to be printed ever! So if you haven't got one of those, feel free to go over to the store and get yours today. Alright people, with all that out of the way, we're actually going to move right into the talk. And let me know if everything is going okay over here, because something was a little bit screwy with the beginning, like the startup. So give me a thumbs up if you can actually hear me talking right now. If not, then I might have to go back and start it over again. But before onward. Alright guys, so I need to talk to you about something that actually came to my mind today, and I think it was of the utmost importance that this actually happened. And actually it's been happening over the last couple days. I've been talking to you guys how I've been feeling just a tad bit off my game, like something is happening. Experiencing like a little bit of like turbulence with my emotions, and I always this happens every once in a while, and I always want to take the time to ask myself why it happens and if it's a good thing or a bad thing. And for as positive as I always like to be, I also want to make sure that I'm communicating to people that negativity is a part of life, right? But it's actually, still the negativity is a good thing, right? Because we could sit here and argue back and forth about would there be good without evil, right? Is the presence of evil make us, the contrast, let us know what good is, negativity and positivity. And I think that is kind of what I want to focus on today. Just the fact that whenever you endeavor to do anything, right? You have a goal, you have a plan, you want to build yourself up, you want to get better, whether it's in art or whether it's staying in shape, it's eating healthier, getting outside, making more friends, becoming more social, coming out of your bubble a little bit, right? Not being shy and hiding in the corner. But even those types of things can be self-destructive if you're doing them for the wrong reasons, and I'll get into that specifically a little bit later. The social aspect, because that's something that I have personally gone through in the past. But first, let's talk about mistakes. Let's talk about negativity and mistakes and bad things happening when you're trying to improve yourself, right? And let's focus in on that and find out what the purpose of those are and how those can help you out. So let's talk about my life specifically. Over the last few days, I've been kind of like, I've been working on the comic, and I've really been like trusting my gut, right? I've really been trying to get good at like listening to what is on the inside of me, what my spirit, what my gut, you know, whatever you want to call it, what that conscience inside of me is telling me to do, the right thing, or what I really truly desire to do. And that could be working on the comic one day, and it could also be helping my little brother Deebs out with his comic that he's developing, or it could be working on something completely off the wall, like just some crazy side project on the side over here that has nothing to do with anything else. I'm talking about the League of Legends fan art thing that I'm working on, and I'll actually pull that up right here for those of you who want to see it. But yeah, it's like these types of things. I'm really trying to just figure out what it is that I want to do and kind of stay motivated and stay excited about art, because as funny as it is, I can actually get refreshed into wanting to do art on the comic by doing art elsewhere, right? But if I stay on the comic on and on and on and on, as much as I do love Emma, starts to kind of like wear on me. It starts to kind of like break me down a little bit, and I start to feel like this is all I do, right? And I think that that can happen with anything. Too much of a good thing is a bad thing, as most people have said, and I really would like to agree with that. All right, but yeah, here's the actual picture that I'm working on, and I'm trying to get this thing finished up today. And this actually plays into the story that I'm talking about, because today I've been working mostly on this, and also I wasted quite a few hours in the morning playing DayZ. But the point is that as soon as I start thinking to myself, oh hey, as soon as I get my mind off of, oh, this is what I really am enjoying doing, and I don't care what happens with this afterwards, it's just for fun, right? As soon as I go from that mindset to, oh hey, I wonder how I could use this. I wonder if I could like go on the League of Legends forums and like post it and get people to like look at my stuff and get all excited about it, and then find out, you know, then I could bring more people from the League of Legends boards over to my comic and I can just get more exposure and stuff like that. As soon as I start thinking that way, those types of things can happen from you doing something like this, right? Obviously. But for me, I've been noticing the most common trend is as soon as with the comic or this thing, anytime I start thinking, ooh, how can I use this, right? How can I use this to my advantage? It starts to get kind of like bad stuff starts to happen. It's so weird. I can't explain why it happens. It just seems to happen. Like my mindset just like totally, it's almost like my motivation gets corrupted. And it's like, yeah, and then I'm going to get all these people to look at the comic, and then I'm going to do this thing over here to get people to buy stuff, and they're going to get all excited about it, right? And, you know, it's just so weird how that type of motivation, it just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. Once I start being motivated by that, it starts to just, like, bad things start to happen. But on the contrary, you know, when I was talking about like the poster earlier, right? I don't feel like I'm trying to like peddle this at you, be like, hey, buy this stuff, right? Or I didn't want to make this thinking, oh, hey, this is how I can make a lot of money. And I didn't even start a comic thinking, oh, hey, this is how I can make a lot of money. My motivation and my passion in it was like pure, right? And I think that's the reason why the comic is turning out so great. That's why I love the comic. That's why all of you love the comic, right? I didn't make it so that people would like it or that people would buy it or people would send me money. I'm not doing any of that. But as soon as I start making my motivation something like trying to get something out of somebody, it seems like it never works. So, but naturally, it's easy to go there. And that's the other thing I want to talk about. Is it's so easy to go there in a world where you're always concerned about like, ooh, how am I going to get by? Or, you know, sometimes, you know, people will talk about their friends or somebody else. They're like, that's the kind of person that all they care about is what's in it for them. And I think that, you know, it could be argued that naturally the human is most interested in self-preservation. It is very selfish, right? So it's always looking out for what is in it for them. And it's hard for you to kind of trust in this law of karma or the law of increasing returns, right? Where you do something for somebody who doesn't even know that it was you that did it, and then trusting in the fact that that will come back to you, if not instantly by the way you feel about yourself, but by something else happening in the future. I don't know, that's a whole nother crazy esoteric conversation that we don't need to go into today. But the fact is that the biggest thing I've been starting to notice is that whenever I stop working from my heart and stop working from what I truly want to do, some just stuff happens, and I immediately, like, I was working on this like yesterday, right, or 2 days ago. Let's put it this way. I was working on this 2 days ago, and I was just super psyched about this. I wasn't thinking about anything. I wasn't thinking about putting this out for anybody, what they were going to think about me, any of that. And I was having the time of my life. This was literally like the funnest picture I'd ever worked on in a long time. And then today and yesterday, it slowly started to slip into, ooh, hey, yeah, I could like use this. I could get people's attention with this. Maybe I could like, yeah. Then like I started thinking all these stupid things. And then today, working on this, I was having such a terrible time. And it wasn't even because the art was challenging. I mean, it was challenging too, but I like that challenge. I like the challenge and I like overcoming it. But I felt like I was working in this weird, like, conniving way. And yeah. So I don't know if that's something that you guys go through at all, but it's almost like I think that the best art just comes out of people when they are just working because they love it. right? That's when your best work comes out, your best artwork, your best job that you could do on something. Even at a job where you're working for a paycheck, right? If you find a way to discover some passion in flipping burgers or selling jeans at the mall, if you can find a passion in that, I guarantee you, you're going to do better. And naturally, the the effects of that will come to you. And I think that's something else that I want to kind of talk about is that, I listen to all these motivational talks on YouTube, and there's this thing that there's this reoccurring statement that keeps coming up, and it is that success is something that you attract. It's not something that you pursue. And I really am starting to understand a little bit more of that. Is that by me saying, "Ooh, hey, here's how I could use this to succeed. Here's how I could use this to like get people to know who I am." Um, I think that's always a good thing to kind of like throw out there. It's be like, especially as an artist, because exposure is your main thing, right? You always want to be you want to consider the exposure, right? But don't make that your main goal, because as soon as that becomes the top thing on your priority list, instead of like the last thing, it's like, oh hey, I'm gonna put this thing out there and people like it. That's cool. People spread this onto the forums. People want to come check out the comment because they like my work. They can do that, but that should always be on the last. That should be the bottom of your list. Top of the list should be because you just wanted to do it. And oh shoot, I totally lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, success is something that you attract. Yes, I'm really starting to believe in that, because all the success that I have like incurred from this, if you want to call it success, gaining a following and like people actually liking the comic and reading it, telling their friends about it, enjoying the show and doing the tutorials or checking out the tutorials, it's all been because I originally started it for me, right? And I still continue. It's very, very hard to continue to do it for you, especially once you start to kind of get eyes on you, you know what I mean? And even in general, even if you don't have anybody looking at what you're doing, even if you're just starting or you're just getting into, the scene or the business, or you want to get discovered, it's so easy to let your motivation be, oh, what is everybody else going to think about me? Well, are they going to accept me? Are they going to cast me and exile me to the island of people who tried, but we told them that they sucked and they go over there? Oh, I love my analogy. Yeah, but yeah, it's so funny to notice how it kind of naturally progresses back to that. And sometimes I think that there's so many analogies of like, this is a cheesy one, but it's like, people say dance like no one's watching. You should also be drawing like no one's watching. You should also be doing anything. You should be pursuing your goals like no one's watching. You should be, just improving yourself and improving your life like nobody's watching. Because really, the way that you act and the way that you consider your life and the way that you build your life to be, without the hopes of impressing anybody else or just doing what anybody else wants, that's really where you're going to soak up the most like concentrated joy that you could ever encounter in a lifetime. And every time I've ever worked just straight from my heart and just wanted to do stuff, that is when I just discover this amazing, this like high of joy. And it's amazing. But with all that happy stuff thrown out there, I want to go back, I want to walk back a little bit, and I want to talk about the negative, right? Because negativity will always, and I want to repeat this, negativity will always be a part of your life. It will always be there, and it has to be there. And it will constantly be showing itself. It'll constantly be trying to work its way back into your life, right? And this is something that I've had to come to terms with. And it's actually not that scary, right? It's not that scary when you just come to terms with it and understand that it's going to be there and that you're ready to fight it. Because there's two solutions to negativity in your life. One is to fight it, or two is to accept it, but it's in a bad way. You accept it and then you sort of numb yourself to it. You lower your expectations of what you expect your life to be. And then you allow the negativity to just basically take it over, and then you accept that that is what your life is, and then you cannot break out of it. And I kind of want to dive into I want to dive into that subject right now, because this is kind of the epitome of what I'm trying to get at today. So, negativity never really disappears, but there's two ways to combat it, and you have to combat it. if you want to continue building yourself, continue to build your positive life, you build your positive self, to continue to progress in any skill or talent that you are trying to improve, right? I think that that's the most important thing, because I've heard somebody say the analogy of the light pushes away the dark, right? Light being positive, dark being negative. But as soon as the light goes off, the darkness takes over again, right? As soon as you stop putting out that positive energy into your life, the negativity will automatically set back in, and your life will become exactly what you don't want it to be. And that kind of goes hand in hand with, you know, people always do these things where they say, oh, I'm going to make the change. I'm going to change this. I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to make this new thing. I'm going to start this new direction in my life, right? And they go out and they do it for a few days, and they kind of really enjoy it. They're like, yeah, this is awesome. But ever so slowly, and I'm guilty of this like anybody else. As much as anybody else is guilty of this, this is me right here. I say, oh man, I'm going to do this thing. Never again. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm changing. I'm being a bigger man, and I'm going to go do this, right? And it works really well for maybe a couple weeks, maybe a couple days. But ever so slowly, to the point where you can't even notice it unless you actively pay attention, you will start to stop. You'll start to stop. You will stop doing the things that you originally were doing when you started that new way of life, right? And you'll slowly go back to the way that you were. And you'll slowly start going back into this negative state of mind. And then when you're way over here, you're like, whoa, what the heck happened? And then you're like, I used to be up here, you know? Or maybe it should be this way, right? But I used to be over here, right, where I was all happy and stuff. And now I'm like over here, I'm all depressed, and I don't know what the heck's going to happen. I'm all irritable and like yelling at people that shouldn't even need to be yelled at just because they came and tried to talk to me at the wrong time, you know? And it's like, what's going on? Like, why did this happen? And at that point, I take a look at my journal, right? Because this is the place that I write down basically what I do throughout the day, cool little insights, my goals and plans. And then I ask myself, well, why am I not feeling the way that I was 2 months ago? And then I'll go back 2 months and I'll be like, oh, hey, oh, well, I was actually writing down all these things that I was thinking about, all the things that I was doing. I was writing down goals and finishing them. I was contacting the people I was supposed to. I was doing the things I was supposed to. And yet now that I'm not doing any of those things, I'm confused why I'm feeling bad, you know? And it just becomes completely clear at that point. It's like, well, obviously if I want to feel the way that I was 2 months ago, I need to continue doing those things, right? You've let the light go away from your life, and the darkness is naturally set in. So, yeah, negativity. That's basically talking about negativity. It has a way of slowly creeping back into your life. And you have to fight it, because that's really what it's about. I heard a good man once say that life is a fight for territory, right? As soon as you stop fighting for what you want your life to be, what you don't want automatically takes over, right? And unfortunately, some people just allow it to take over, and then they tell themselves, oh, well, that's just the way life is, or life sucks, or life is unfair, or, you know, they just accept that they are becoming less of a person, right? Because they don't want to disappoint themselves. You don't want to disappoint yourself. There's nothing more disappointing than knowing that you could do more, but you consciously choose not to, right? Knowing that you could do more, but out of being lazy or not wanting to take a chance or being afraid of looking stupid in front of a bunch of people, you don't do it. And then I think that there's something about that, something about you choosing to not take that chance and be or do what you believe in, that damages your mind, it damages your self-esteem, and it really disappoints you. So to combat that, you simply say, oh, well, that's just who I am. That's the way my life is. I suck at doing this, or I never reach my goals. I never do this stuff. People never really like the work that I do, so that's just the way it is. And then they just accept that. That way, at least they can't be disappointed anymore. They have the certainty that they suck, which is, unfortunately, good enough for some people. But in order to really step up and make your life worth what it should be to you, you have to step into that uncertainty. You have to fight the negativity instead of just accept it and then, you know, just let it run rampant. All right. Oh yeah, another quote I wanted to throw in there, and this is for your journal, for those of you who got journals. This is one from Jim Rohn. He says, the same door that keeps out disappointment keeps out happiness, And that basically sums up everything, right? As you close the door to disappointment, you close the door to improvement, happiness, and self-improvement, right? And progress. And that's really, really not a good thing to do. All right, so in essence, if you're gonna make a change, make the change and keep it up, right? I'm saying this to you as much as I am to myself, because I've decided I wanted to make some big changes in my life, meaning, you know, I want to rediscover that passion. I want to get back into that feeling of just doing what I love because I love it and not caring what anybody else thinks about it. I want to go back to that. I am going back to that, but it's so easy to just slip right back to that natural way of, ooh, what's in this for me? Or how can I make this worth something for me? You know, those things are always in the back of my head, and I don't like it. I really don't like it. And it's very funny too, because when I'm operating out of that train of thought, it literally shows in my artwork, because it's just not as good. It's not as good. It literally looks like a different person drew it. I look at it and I'm like, this literally sucks. It just sucks so bad. I don't like it at all. And it is just so funny how your mindset literally changes everything that you do. All right. So I want to actually go into that social thing that I was talking about. Kind of how wanting to improve yourself socially, right? Because I moved to Utah recently, and it's like, hey, I just moved away from all my best friends, and all my friends that I had here before I moved are all married, and they're off on their little Mormon missionary things across the world in Japan or something, and so they're not here right now. So I think that there's a natural part of me that wants to, you know, find these people again, find friends, find this circle, this group of people who is like-minded like me. They can be artists or anything, it doesn't really matter. But I want to find these people that are just on this level of just having a good time with life, like understanding, like self-improvement, all this stuff. It's almost like I'm not even clear about what I want, you know? But it's like something inside of me says, normal people have a lot of friends, so I should probably go out and get social and meet a lot of friends, right? Okay, and I want to talk to you about this and how it can be destructive if you use this mindset of, oh yeah, well if I have friends, then I'll feel good about myself. Ooh, if I have these friends, then oh yeah, then these people will think I'm cool, right? And that's a really, really bad mindset to have. And but I will say that there is a little bit of good in it. There's good and bad, right? Just like I said before. But when I first moved here, I was really, really excited about kind of getting that fresh start again. I always love it when I move to a new place, and I feel like I just like get a fresh, clean slate and just get to start meeting new people. I could go out and do the old things that I used to love doing, disco skating, going and seeing, like, the music scene in Utah is amazing, like for local artists and like small little indie bands. So cool going out to the city and seeing these people perform live. And so naturally I wanted to go out and do these things. But in the beginning, I mean, or just throughout my whole life, I've been very, very shy. A lot of people say they watch the show now and they say, oh, you're such an extrovert. You just talk and talk and talk. You talk for a freaking hour, and you probably go for 6 hours if you wanted to. I can't believe that you used to be shy. There's no way. And it really was true. It really is true still to an extent. Actually, very, very much to an extent. It's just experience, right? I've been doing the show for over a year, and still, even then, I stumble over my words. I mess up. I get kind of like in my head too much about stuff. And I notice that when I give my best performances, it's when I'm just like in this zone. I can't even explain it. It's just like I feel like I'm talking. Just I don't know what it is. Like there's a connection right here. Do you feel it? And it's so amazing. Like when I'm in that state of mind, I can just go and go and go and go. And that's when I give my best speeches. That's when I talk the best. That's when I just feel like I'm on my game. And but it wasn't always that way. I was always growing up, I was always very, very shy. I was always in this state of, I just, you know, everybody has the wanting for people to like them. Everybody wants that thing to, you know, everybody wants the group of friends. And I had a great group of friends growing up. Not like saying I didn't have any friends, but I was always naturally just very, very shy. All the girls that I liked didn't like me. Every time I always say this to myself. Every time I got a girl to like me, it was because I literally just did not care. I literally couldn't care less about wanting to be with a girl or wanting to be in a relationship. That's the way it's been every time. And so, and this is actually going to get kind of personal today. But yeah, I'm going to talk to you guys about something. So naturally, I always wanted this feeling of like, well, how come I can't be the one to like a girl and she likes me back, right? So I got into this. I started researching like, oh, hey, this is how to like get girls to like you. This is how you get people to like you, right? And I think it was good to a point because it kind of got me out of my shell. I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to get people to like me, if I'm going to get friends, I got to get there and just start talking to people, right? I got to get past this. And I did. I think if there's one good thing about my philosophy, the way that I live my life, is that, hey, if I want to just try something, if I want to see if it works, I'll just go out and do it, right? It's just like, hey, maybe this will work, and just go out and do it. It doesn't matter if it's stupid or if it ends up terribly. It's like I allow myself to suck in the beginning, or I allow myself to make some huge mistakes and just learn as I go. And this is something that people would call, in a sense, there's like a pickup community around this, like guys that go out and like get girls and like, you know, just like walking down the street and stuff. And I was like, man, could I ever do that? Could I ever just like talk to a girl and get her to like me, you know, just like off of nothing? And I was really, really like interested in that at first because I was like, I'm tired of just sitting around and waiting for these people to come up to me, right? I'm tired of waiting around. I see this cute girl and I'm too scared to go up and talk to her, right? And I think to a certain point, like I said, this is a good thing. This is a good thing to want to improve upon this. But it actually got to a point where it was very kind of toxic for me. And I started worrying too much, right? I was like, oh man, I just gotta get these people to like me, right? And I was going out, you know, on the weekends, going to these clubs, places that I don't even really like to go, right? With all these bars and, you know, drinking and all this stuff. And it's not really, I mean, it's fun to go there with my friends. I love going there with my friends every now and then, but it's just like, I would never go there. Not dissing on anybody that does that kind of stuff. It's just not really for me. I'm the nerdy kid that likes to sit inside and draw pictures and play video games, right? I'm not the kind of guy that goes out to the bars or the karaoke things and picks up on chicks in the street and at the grocery store and in the club, right? But it was pretty fun while I was trying it. And to a certain extent, I still think that it's a good thing to just, I'm glad that I did it. That way I kind of got out of my shell, okay? And I can't believe I'm talking about this stuff on the stream. This is so bad. This is pretty embarrassing. This is actually pretty embarrassing. I hope that you guys enjoy this because this is like super top secret stuff. Like this is how much I love you guys because I'm talking to you about. I talk about everything. It doesn't get much more personal than this, but anyway. So I was always concerned. I recently developed this mentality of I need to get people to like me, right? I need to get people to like me. And then I went through all these like weird, like, it was like all these mental battles. It's like, well, I'm cool. I'm cool because, yeah, I'm a guy that like believes in my dreams and I go for stuff. And, oh, maybe these people just don't like me because they're not on the same wavelength. I'm just too good for them. Or maybe they're too good for me. You know, maybe I actually am just a loser who doesn't have any self-worth or value in a social circle. And I guess the point at which it really kind of clicked over for me was when I realized that, because I had been trying to do this stuff for a while. I'd been trying to get people to like me, trying to get friends and all this stuff. It sounds so stupid, right? And there just came a point where I actually asked myself, I was like, am I really enjoying doing this anymore? You know, like, what am I getting out of this? And do I really want to go back to the old way of doing things? And this is very, very rare where I want to do this type of thing, right? It's rare that I'll try something and then find out that, hey, this way just isn't working for some reason. Something about what I'm doing is not producing results. So I need to change my approach, right? I need to change the way that I'm doing things. So I decided that I was just going to stop. I decided I was going to stop worrying about going out and trying to get people to like me, trying to make friends and all this stuff. I decided I was just going to stop that, and I was going to focus on what was making me happy right now and what I wanted to do. And I asked myself that. What do I really want to do? And that was, I want to make this comic. I want to continue doing the show. I want to play video games. I want to hang out with my little brother. I want to work on his art with him. I want to start I want to keep working on contract for Riot, and I want to start building my future, right? I want to start building the money like that I'm going to be investing, and start like figuring out how I'm going to get my own place and how I'm going to make the business grow naturally, right? Without having it to be like conniving about it, or like, hey, how can I use this, or like, what's in this for me? I think that I have a good plan in place, and I just need to trust in that, right? I've gone through all the logical thinking and all the stuff of, oh, okay, well, here's how this could make money. But until I go back into that planning stage, never think about it again. Literally, while I'm working on the job, and working on the comic, that is all that matters there. I'm not concerned about the money. I'm not concerned about the paycheck. I'm not concerned about what I'm getting out of it. The only thing that I'm concerned about is me and how I feel about it. And I think that as long as I can continue feeling that way, it's just, life is going to be amazing, right? Because I highly doubt that I'm going to get to the end of my life and be like, oh man, I really think I should have tried a little less, you know? I think I should have given a little less. Or dang it, I shouldn't have done that for those people. Like, look at how much time I wasted being charitable and helping out these people, or giving away this money, or giving away my time and talent to these people who asked my help. I wish I wouldn't have helped out so many people, you know? I don't think that's really the way it's going to go. But I do know for a fact that if I get to the end of my life and I say, man, look at all these people that I could have helped, or look at these things that I could have created, these things that I could have had a great time doing and I didn't do it, that's going to be something that I will not be able to handle. So, yeah, that's really, it's kind of scary to even think about that. But, yeah, let's see how much time we got. We've only been going for a half an hour? The heck? The heck? Alright, guys, I'm going to open up the chat to questions over here if you want to talk about, if you want to know how to pick up chicks in a terrible way, just go ahead and ask that. I'll tell you all my super awesome techniques. And yeah, Sundancer, you're back. I actually was missing you. I was thinking to myself a couple days ago, where's Sundancer? Where is he? You were in school, weren't you? You finally graduated? That's so great. So great. I'm so happy for you. All right. Let's see here. Let's see. People are talking about what images I worked on contract for Riot. I can't say that right now because they haven't been released, but when they do, I'll let you know. Yes, Sundancer, you did get here right in time for embarrassing story. Right in time for embarrassing story. Creepy embarrassing story about Kenan trying to pick up chicks and make friends. Alright. So yes, any questions? Ask away. Ask away. And if, yeah, I think I'll answer questions and then we'll actually end, because I could have sworn I was talking for like 45 minutes. But I guess I wasn't. I guess I wasn't. So, let's see, what else did I want to talk about? Let's just kind of like sum up everything. Oh, there is one more thing here. There is one more thing here. Okay. We've been talking all day about, you know, fighting for what you believe in, fighting for that positive lifestyle, and understanding that negativity will always be there. It's always going to be showing itself, trying to get back in, right? It's going to be trying to get back in, but you need it there. You need it there in order to have that contrast and that danger and that adventure, right? Because you can't have an adventure if everything's fine. You're just walking through a grassy field, you know, for miles and miles and miles, and that's your life. I was like, what kind of a life is that? It's like, where's the scary danger? Where's the monster that's gonna bust out of the earth and try to eat you and your dog and your girlfriend and all your family, right? Where's the giant tremor monster that's like digging through with like terrible special effects and then goes out the edge of the cliff? If you guys remember that part of the movie. Yeah, it's like, what kind of a life is that? You have to have the contrast. You have to have the opposites in conflict in order to have an adventurous and a fun life. And I really think that's what it's all about. So, yes, even after I make $1 million off of the comic, I will not have eliminated negativity from my life. There will always be that challenge. Always be that challenge. Different challenges, right? But yeah, it's always a good thing. It's always a good thing. But let that stuff come to you naturally. And the last thing I want to talk about today, guys, is clarity. Clarity in your goals is where all of the power to go forward with something or to get something lies, right? It's a biblical phrase, but I think it could basically be said anyway. It's like, ask and you shall receive, right? I think the problem with a lot of today's people is that they're not even asking, right? Because they adopted this mindset of, oh, I don't even deserve that. There's no way I can get that, so I don't even bother asking, right? And I really want to argue the opposite, is that some people ask and then, they're like, oh, well, I'd really like to get this. But then they never really take it past that. They never understand, they don't ask for precisely what they want and when they want, right? And I think that's really where all the power comes from. Because if you say, hey, I want to make $1 million, or if I had $1 million, that'd be sweet, right? But do they say why they want $1 million? Oh, so I don't have to work anymore. That's not really a good plan, because if you don't work, then you're not going to feel good. If you're not engaged in something that you want to do, then you're not going to feel good about yourself. And that's probably why somehow the universe keeps the millions of dollars out of the hands of the people that just don't want to work, right? The lazy people. And even when it does get given to those lazy people, sure enough, that $1 million finds a way of disappearing. It just finds a way of going away, and then they lose it all, right? Or something, I don't know. There's just all kinds of crazy stories about people that have won the lottery and how, bad things have happened. But I think that any sort of end result of a goal is not what you get from it, it's what you become by getting it, right? What you yourself become by reaching that goal is much more important than the $1 million or the Lamborghini Diablo or the, what else? The giant mansion with the big pool so I can invite all of you to come to my pool party, right? It's much more important what you become on your way there. And I'm really starting to understand that that really is what life is about. And so far, I'm really, really enjoying what I'm becoming, and I really want to continue doing that. So, but remember, clarity. Clarity. If you want that new car, say, hey, I want it on this day, I want it this color, I want it to buy it from here, and here's what I'm going to do with it, and here's how it's going to affect the rest of my life, and all these things. Basically, imagine all the reasons why you do it. And sometimes when you get clear about things, like for me, I wanted that Scion FRS, right? But when I really sat down and asked myself, well, even if I were to buy it, even if I were to put a down payment of $10,000 onto it, what else could I use that $10,000 for? I could invest that into a brokerage account that would help grow the business. Wouldn't I rather do that than to put a down payment on a car that I'm never going to use, it's just going to sit out there in the driveway because I work from home now. I don't need to drive anywhere. Just drive down to the supermarket and people will be like, oh, wow, look at that cool car. And then they'd probably look at the little vinyl on the side and be like, oh, hey, it says Emma. I wonder what that is. And they'd forget about it 5 seconds later. Some people might go home and type it on the thing. But it's like, really, I feel like the investment would not have been worth the result, right? So I think when you get clear in your plans and the things that you think that you want, oftentimes you'll find out what you really do want or what you really need, right? And yeah, I just want to I want to urge you guys to kind of get clear in your goals, right? If you want to work for a professional company, figure out which one you want to work for, and then kind of start getting clear on what you'd like to do there. And then when you start getting clear on exactly what you want to do, why you want to do it, what you expect to get from it, you'll naturally start to find the solutions to push you forward, right? You'll develop those reasons and you'll find the things that push you forward. All right. Pony Sharp is asking, I have an issue of getting myself to take a risk and do something. How do I push myself past that? I think that's a good question, right? And it's a common thing. A lot of people have that. I have it. Everybody has the fear of trying something, right? And it's oftentimes because you could have fear of failure. You could have fear of unfathomable success. Like I just coined that phrase there. And yeah, I think it's fear, right? Fear is always there. There's fear of the unknown. There's fear of uncertainty, right? Uncertainty is always going to be a part of your life. But I'll tell you this, unless, Pony Sharp, I'm talking to you right now, unless you or anybody else, any other one of you that has the same feeling over here, step into that uncertainty, unless you do that, you will never grow. You will never progress and get closer to what you want. right? If you let the fear keep you back, you're just going to stay here, right? And you're going to shut that door on disappointment. But, like I said before, you shut the door on disappointment, you shut the door on your happiness, your fulfillment, and your growth. Okay? So I think it's very, very important that you just try it, right? And allow yourself, like I said before, it's like allow yourself to suck in the beginning. Allow yourself to be terrible at whatever it is that you're doing. But that, you will make a giant stride. You will make huge strides in the beginning, right? You'll fall on your face here, and you'll jump way far ahead, and then maybe you'll kind of land on your butt here. You know, imagine you're like an astronaut running on the moon, right? And then that third step, you take a giant stride and you kind of trip up a little bit, but you catch yourself, right? And you start getting that stride, and you're going and going and going, going and going. And then after a while, it's completely natural, and you are building yourself up. But don't jump too high, otherwise you'll leave orbit, and then you'll just kind of like float out into space. I'm just kidding. In that case, engage your jets to push you back to the surface. Alright. Anthony's asking, what do you do when you have tons of projects but you never finish any of them? Oh, Anthony, great question. Great question. I think it's very, very important that, because this is something that I was actually experiencing with the current piece I was working on with Lulu and Poppy. And it's just like this feeling of, oh man, do I really want to finish this? Do I really need to? It's like, I don't know what to do next, right? That's oftentimes why you stop something. And I want to urge you to finish the things that you start, right? Because it's a very, not just because the thing will be done, but what it does for you mentally. Knowing that you are a finisher, right, makes you feel good about yourself and it builds your confidence. But if you just give up on something, it really kind of destroys your self-confidence. So, but if you have like 20 projects that all need to be done, I would suggest building yourself up and increasing your confidence by taking charge of the situation, right? You sit at the helm, right? You take a look at all these things that need to be done, and then you decide which one of these is really important. Which one of these do I really need to focus on? Are there any of these that I can actually really push away and never touch again? Are some of these things that maybe I can push away for a week? But what are the things that what's the one thing that I will sit down and I will finish it right now? Okay? And I guarantee you, when you do that, you will feel good. Alright? Alright. Simon's saying, some people seem iffy when I tell them my plan to take a year to improve and gain money. Yeah, Simon. I mean, that's just the way it's always going to be. You tell your plan to anybody. I mean, when I was telling people that I wanted to quit my stable job and make a comic book company, most people actually were very supportive, but the people that I thought would be the most supportive actually were the ones that ended up being the least supportive, unfortunately. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny how life will kind of blindside you like that sometimes, but that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. And really, you got to understand that, when you're telling your plans to other people, don't really worry so much about what they say, because you make the plans for you, right? You can definitely take their opinions with a grain of salt, but don't be like, oh yeah, what was I thinking? Dreaming big, going for something that I really want. Oh yeah, that's stupid. I don't deserve that. And then you kill it right there. Don't do that. Find you. All right. Duct tape Emma adds to my bike. I've not been biking in a little while. I need to get back out there. Emma trading card in the spokes. All right. Yeah, Captain Big Butt. Speaking of unfinished business, he's asking about the Metal Slug image, and yes, I kind of don't want to do that. I kind of don't want to finish it. I'm okay with kind of pushing that to the side and just not finishing it, because I don't know. It's just not really that important to me. I liked it, but it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough after all that work. It wasn't good enough. Plus my ADD is like, ooh, what's the new shiny new thing? Shiny new thing is Lulu and Poppy, and I'm gonna finish that tonight. And then I'm just gonna post it wherever I see fit. In fact, I'm thinking about posting it just to the League of Legends art board. I was thinking about doing this whole thing on like general, like posting and be like, hey guys, you should like caption this thing, you know, give away prizes, you know, just like get more people to look at it. But I'm not gonna really do that unless it just feels natural. And when I was operating with that motivation, like I said, it just felt really wrong, felt really weird. So, Simon's saying he's been using some of my words to help out some of his friends that have been feeling depressed. Wow, that's awesome! Help out your emo friends, right? Help out your emo friends like me, right? Go from this to this. My hair is so long, it needs to be trimmed. I'm like one of those mop dogs. You ever seen those? I think they're called Yorkies. You ever see when people just like let them grow out and they look like living brooms? They just run around the house and sweep it up. That's what I look like right now. But I've always wanted to grow out my hair, and I'm going to try my best to fulfill the prophecy. Alright. You guys are all bringing up all these things that I didn't finish. What about the Maokai piece with the gimpy arm? Oh man, that one I actually do want to finish, and I should, because I've been actually wanting to be posting stuff on the League of Legends art forum. Like, I really think it's like an untapped like community, right? It's an untapped community, and like if I post stuff on there without the thought of like, oh hey, here's what I can get out of it, and like get all these people on general forums to come take a look at stuff. If I actually pull people that are into art naturally, that would be really cool. So I actually want to finish that. I do want to finish that. I'm going to make a note of it because I want to post that on the art forum. And speaking of that, I actually made a new League of Legends account because I wanted to change my name, and I need to get to level 5 before I can post on the forum. So I might be playing some games tonight. If I do get on, I'm probably just gonna. I need to play against bots, I guess, in the beginning to like get to level 5. So when I do that, I'll post on Facebook either today or sometime this weekend. And you guys can join me. Stomp some comps. All right. Oh, man, such good questions. I love this. Alrighty. Brooke is asking, how did you face the fears about starting your own company? And yes, let's see. Let's see here. How did I face my fears of starting the company? Well, the best way that I can sum this up is I remember the point at which this happened, right? Because I had the idea for Emma even before, like years before I even started working at Riot. And I was in work one day. I was actually sitting at my computer at work at Riot, and I was listening to a book on tape called The Alchemist. And that is by Paulo Coelho. And for those of you who have not read The Alchemist, right? Not Full Metal Alchemist, the manga, whatever you want to call it. The Alchemist, right? And it is an amazing book about following your dream. And it basically talks a lot about what I've talked about today, right? About how positive and negative will always have this, like, they'll be waging war on each other in your life. And you get to control how much that negativity takes over your life, right? You get to control that, how much it has an effect on you. You can't change the negative events that will happen in your life, but you can change how much of an effect they have on you, right? And that's basically what The Alchemist is all about. The boy has a dream of reaching the pyramids of Egypt, or that he's seeking a treasure, right? Then he has to go to the pyramids of Egypt. And I don't want to spoil the whole story, but basically he incurs all of these negative experiences on the way there. But he also has some amazing experiences of growth and positivity, right? And very, very awesome things happen in that book. And I was listening to this while I was working, right? And this book is actually very, very dangerous for me to listen to. The Alchemist is very, very dangerous because every time I've listened to this book, every time I've read it or listened to it, my mind just like levels up. It literally like jumps to another sense of consciousness, and it's like, whoa. I literally just like look around at everything that's happening, like, it's time for a big change, right? And so I was in work and I just finished listening to this book. Just finished listening to it. And I just like, I sat up in my desk and I just said to myself, I am going to quit my job and I'm going to start a company and I'm going to make my comic. I just knew it was going to happen. My fears instantly vaporized. They just went away because I became so clear on what I wanted and why I wanted it, right? I developed those reasons. The reasons just all came to me at the same time, and my fear instantly vanished. So, yeah, if I were to relate this to you, it's A, read The Alchemist, and B, find the reasons that you really want to do something, right? And the most important reason should be just because you want to do it, right? But then find all those other reasons. Is it because you want to inspire somebody? Is it because you want to be a good example to maybe your little brothers or your siblings, right? Be like, hey, look, if I can do this, you can do this, and you can probably even be even better because you'll start at a younger age. You know, find those reasons. You know, it could even be like, it's sort of a negative reason, but I think it's a good kind of thing. It's like, get revenge on all those people who said that you couldn't do it, right? Show those people, like, shove it in their faces, right? And that's a good one to have. A little bit of that is okay in there, but don't let that be your major thing, because again, that's a very negative thing, a negative standpoint. But it's also good. But yeah, when you get the reasons and you get the inspiration to do anything, I really feel like your fears disappear. Your fears literally disappear. And I think it's a good thing to look back on those original reasons. Always look back on those original reasons why you started something. For me, it was just because I wanted to do it, and I wanted to make my comic so that I could read it, right? I wanted to make this story so that way I could see it myself. And if anybody that's watching this show or that reads the comic gets inspired or loves it or gets some entertainment out of it, that's just icing on the cake. And I always say that. I'm making the comic for myself. You guys are here to enjoy it for all that you want. But yeah, the main reason will always be for myself. And yeah, and that's about it. Cool, awesome. You guys took the questions all the way to almost to an hour, so that's good. I'm actually going to go ahead and wrap up today's daily, guys. So let me go ahead and pull up outro music here. Oh man, we talked about some crazy stuff today. Crazy stuff. We'll see how that pans out. But anyway, it felt good. I feel like it came from a good place. And if anything, it just lets you guys know that I like to be honest with you, and I like to tell you everything that kind of goes on in my life at the right time. If it was a little too much information, then I'm sure I'll figure that out in the future. But for now, I'm pretty happy with everything that was said today. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope you got some value out of it. And thank you for, once again, being my audience that I can practice on, giving my speeches for the future, or when hopefully I become successful and I can give huge speeches at Comic-Con and I can be like, yes! All of you go out and make comics and work for me and make them part of KNKL, right? Because we're going to be the next Marvel, we're going to be the next DC. KNKL Comics is going to be the next big thing in the future. And I want all of you artists to be working there where I can pay you loads of money to do what you love and create your own projects and have them published through my company, ideally. That's what I'm fighting for, right? That's all the stuff that's in the future. But all good things in good time. So guys, I want to thank you once again for joining me live. And for those of you on YouTube, thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't. My name is Ken Lafferty. You guys have a great weekend. I totally forgot that today was Thursday. Jeez, the day shoots by so fast, or the week shoots by so fast. You guys have a great weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday. We'll be working on Emma. And yeah, you guys take care. See ya.